spoiler alert, the answer to the problem is going to end up being write your senator, at least until we can find a more effective solution. Hello! I am so glad that you could be here today. My name is Rich, the channel is called New Memphis, and the war in Ukraine sucks. And that's a fact. But for now, I want to talk about a video that was just recently posted, taken from Russian state news media.
На ком больше ответственности? На циничных американцах, которые публично открыто заявляют о своих целях, или на европейцах, чья позиция спровоцировала в том числе не один конфликт в мире? Имели бы свою позицию и жестко ее отстаивали бы, возможно, многих конфликтов, включая конфликты на Украине, может быть, и не было бы. Но в том-то и дело.
There's a lot of truth in what he's saying, and I'm sure all of us are mad that this war is not yet over. But recently I saw a video from another YouTuber, Jake Bro, who I am a huge fan of, so don't take this as some kind of a hit piece or an attempt at one. But I worry sometimes there are a lot of us in the West who aren't quite grappling with the severity of the situation, and I hope this video is a step in the right direction. Again, I don't want it to come across like I'm making a hit piece, but there are some things that we really need to start understanding about just how bad the political situation in the West has become.
Потому что как белые люди, мы не ведем себя как белые люди. И в этом начало и конец всей проблемы.
Again, there's a really sad truth in what this Russian invader is saying, tragically. And that truth has to do with the sacred cow of the West, the things that we are willing to believe and the things that we are not willing to believe. Because we here in the cultural left, where we are so incredibly educated, we don't believe that we are people who believe the things we believe because we were taught to believe such, or because we were indoctrinated to a certain culture, a certain society with values and beliefs. We believe ourselves to be a group of incredible intellectuals who all just came to the same solutions on our own. I read 1984 when I was in college, but what a lie that is. And there is something incredible in Russia's ability to both identify that and use it against us. Because they know they can pillage and assault and slaughter their way across Eastern Europe as long as they don't touch the actual sacred cow of the West. As long as they don't do that, as long as they don't cross the line, and there is a line, we're going to get to that, no one is going to ever actually stop them. They know that when they inevitably take Kyiv, in, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, after spending another 100,000 men, 1 million men, whatever, they know that the people of the West, living in staunchly democratic countries who firmly believe in supporting democracy abroad, in free trade, and in capitalism, they know that those countries, for all their ideals, will stand back as Russia rolls its tanks into Kyiv, and they will gather in the streets to say, "Thank you, Russia. Thank you, Vladimir Putin. I now never have to worry about what goes on in the Eastern Bloc again. I don't even have to remember the name of that one country. What was that country called again? The one with the flag? The people of the West will accept Russia brutalizing its way across the old Eastern Bloc, because as long as the image that they are seeing on their television screens and on their phones and on their tablets is that of a white superpower rolling over its neighbors, that is all according to plan.
Что белые люди, как европейцы, как американцы это понимают, это драконы. Они диктуют с позиции силы. Мы сожжем тебя, и ты сделаешь, что мы скажем. Иначе мы просто разобьем всю твою страну, задавим вас всех и все подряд. А вот Владимир Владимирович с первых 2 дней начинает разговаривать о мире. И тоже Запад так и смотрел на Россию, потому что менталитет не могут понять. Они белые, они же должны быть как мы. А белый человек, как европейцы это понимают, это человек, который с мечом приходит, рубит одного, потом его рубит другой, и вот так вот все.
None of it touches the sacred cow. None of it actually gets any Westerner outside of their comfort zone. None of it asks anything of us. This is just the way the world works. This is what happens. And there's such incredible power in that Russia has done all these horrible things and the West just seems completely impotent to stop them Because as long as they aren't touching that sacred cow, as long as what shows up on the television screen is what they expect, is part of the plan, no one's going to care. If anything, they'll be excited when they no longer have to worry about any of this crap showing up in their news feed. That's the truth. And that's why Russia gets away with all of this. Why they will get away with all of this. And it's why they'll win the war. Unless we actually do something. This is going to seem... This is going to seem a little irrelevant, but stick with me. I remember recently watching a video from trans woman and staunch feminist Lily Alexander taking a sober look back at the Women's March. What she had to say might surprise you.
The Women's March was a disgrace to activism, which made it clear, if it wasn't already, that many of these people were simply not serious. It affirmed that the existing channels of participation, voting, and nebulously speaking out were the only ones required to fix the problem at hand. Even its urgent mass protest kind of read more like an excuse to dress up and live out a fantasy of radicalism, so that when things went back to normal, you could tell your kids you stood up for what's right.
I think she was actually really onto something there. And I think that that is an attitude that pervades everything in Western society right now. This hope that everything can just go back to normal, and that failure to understand that normal went out the window a long time ago. The United States has lost all sense of purpose. We don't know what we're doing. The government doesn't have its shit together. What it's about ultimately is the fact that the United States is an empire. The United States is an empire that controls the world through economics and military might. And while we may sit here and enjoy the benefits of living in an empire, all the cheap goods, the cheap labor, all the cheap Chinese drop-shipped crap that I can order to be shipped to me across open and free sea lanes across the Pacific. While we like benefiting from all of that, we don't like doing the actual work of maintaining the empire. That's the part we're not interested in, and that's our Achilles heel. And so as long as we are just fat and comfortable, as long as we are sitting here, and as long as what's on our television screens does not violate us in such a way that we can't immediately recover from, as long as the sacred cow is still intact, as long as we still see, oh, it's just another white superpower rolling over its neighbors. Whatever. Russia wins. The plan is for Russia to win so things can just go back to normal. And it'll be a tragedy. We'll put down wreaths for the former Ukraine. We'll talk about how horrible it is for democracy abroad. And then things will go back to normal. And by normal, I mean we'll be here again in a few years when they try to invade Poland. That's it. That's what we're doing. That's where we're headed right now. Without a serious left turn in the American government, that's where we're headed. And I hope it's not controversial to say that I don't want that to happen. But I'm scared that it will. So, here is what I'm going to do in the next hour to work to keep that from happening. And it's not a great solution, but it's a start. I'm going to write both of my senators from the state of Illinois. I'm going to write my congressperson from my district. And I am going to keep posting videos. As you guys can see, for my long-term viewers, I have a new setup now that hopefully will allow me to have a bit of a faster turnaround. I'm not going to be setting up a camera. I'm just going to be filming from my stream cam, which the quality is not necessarily great, but it'll work. It'll allow me to get videos out every day, hopefully, talking about this cultural rot that we're dealing with, talking about issues related to Americans' daily lives, and I hope it matters. Your job is to keep Ukraine in your hearts, in your minds, and on the minds of your politicians, as well as on the minds of the people around you. There's no reason we can't support Ukraine. On top of that, supporting Ukraine means creating American jobs because, America has this whole, war industry that's quite profitable and again, creates American jobs. We're literally just selling Ukraine our old shit and then making new stuff and stimulating the American economy in the process. There's no reason not to. It's ridiculous that it's taking us this long. We have the opportunity to set up, well, not set up, it's already there, but we have the opportunity to support a democracy, 500 miles outside of Moscow? Ronald Reagan would roll in his grave to know that Republicans were the ones who stood in the way of us doing that. Fucking shameful. Anyway, I'm going to get to writing my senator. I suggest you do the same. and I will see you guys in the next one.